If you saw this lying in a dusty attic, you might think it's just an old piece of wood. But to a master, this is the 1959 Gibson Les Paul standard. It is the pinnacle of human craftsmanship, the Holy Grail. Less than 650 were made, and today, one of these guitars carries the price tag of a Manhattan mansion. I am the Gatekeeper, and I am here to challenge your knowledge. You've got a talented ear and can tell a low-mid resonance from a phase cancellation. But now, we enter the inner sanctum of the instrument itself. I have built 5 gates to see if you can handle the history. If you can pass them all, you've earned the title of Guardian of the Grail. Let the audition begin. Gate 1. The discontinued legend. The irony. Believe it or not, this most famous guitar in history was actually a commercial failure. By 1960, sales were so poor that Gibson actually stopped making the single cutaway Les Paul entirely, replacing it with the thinner, pointier SG model. It wasn't until years later, when British blues players started plugging these pawn shop guitars into loud Marshall stacks, that the world realized what they had missed. Name the 1960s guitar god who appeared on the 1966 album Blues Breakers with John Mayall, and who single-handedly made the Les Paul a legend. You might know this record as the Beano album. During the photo shoot, a disengaged, moody Eric Clapton was caught reading a copy of the Beano, a popular British children's comic. He later admitted he was being intentionally difficult, but the name stuck instantly among fans. And his playing of the Gibson marked the turning point for that instrument's popularity. Clapton found the magic in the wood that Gibson themselves had given up on. But here is the ultimate Gatekeeper secret. If you want to find that specific Beano guitar today, you can't. Shortly after those sessions, during rehearsals for Cream at the London Playhouse, the guitar was stolen. Eric was devastated. He later said it was the only one he ever truly felt at home on. He spent decades trying to find a replacement that captured that same nasal growl, but for him, the magic was gone. To this day, the Beano Les Paul remains the most famous missing instrument in the world. Some say it's in a private collection in the States, others think it never left London. But that's a story for another day. Gate 2. The flame and the fade. The aesthetics. Collectors obsess over the top of a 59. These guitars featured a 2-piece maple cap over a mahogany body. Because of the way the wood was cut, many developed a striped tiger-like pattern known as flame. But the most famous characteristic of the 59 is its color. Originally, they were sprayed with a bright cherry sunburst, but the red dye Gibson used was notoriously sensitive to ultraviolet light. Over decades in the sun, that red would disappear, leaving a beautiful honey brown hue. What do collectors call that specific naturally aged color? The answer? It's known as the honeyburst or lemon burst. If you can't see the beauty in the fade, you aren't passing this gate. Gate 3. The PAF secret. The soul. The sound of a 59 comes largely from its 2 humbucking pickups designed by Seth Lover. Because these early units were handmade, no two sound exactly alike. But there's a myth in the collecting world that every real vintage pickup has a sticker on it that reads PAF. That is a dangerous mistake. If you ever see a sticker that explicitly says PAF, you are looking at a modern reproduction or a flat-out forgery. The real gold-bordered sticker on a 1959 original features the full three-word phrase that collectors use for shorthand. So tell me, what is the full phrase that Gibson printed on those original stickers? The answer is patent applied for. An interesting note, patent applied for, much like patent pending, carries no actual legal power to stop a competitor. It's not enforceable until the government officially grants the patent. So this was less of a legal shield and more of a psychological warning, designed to keep rivals at bay while Gibson claimed the throne of innovation. So if you ever see a Gibson with an acronym, you're looking at a fake. Gate 4, the burst serial, the math. Every true 59 Les Paul has a 5-digit serial number starting with a specific digit. It is the fingerprint of the instrument. To verify a real burst, you have to look for that first number, followed by a space, and then 4 digits. In the high-stakes world of vintage auctions, a single digit can be the difference between a $400,000 guitar and a modern reissue. What is the first digit of every authentic 1959 Les Paul serial number? The answer is the number 9. If you don't know your numbers, you might just be playing with a toy. Gate 5, the Greeny Magic, the legend. Perhaps the most famous 59 Les Paul in existence is a guitar known as Greeny. It was owned first by Peter Crean of Fleetwood Mac, then by Gary Moore, and now is owned by Kirk Hammett of Metallica. This specific guitar has a haunting, out-of-phase sound because the neck pickup was accidentally installed backward. It's a mistake that created one of the most iconic tones in rock history. Tell me, what were the original tuning pegs made of on these 1959 models? They weren't metal or plastic. They were a translucent greenish material known as Clusen tulip buttons made of celluloid. If you knew that, you've touched the Grail.
You've survived the pickups, the serials, and the celluloid, but now you face the final gate. And today's final gate starts with a confession. I, the Gatekeeper, approach this specific subject with a rare sense of humility. The history of the 59 burst is so deep and its legacy so protected that even I consider myself a perpetual student of its lore. For those of you who have spent your lives in the archives, the true masters of the burst, I invite you to grade this video. If you find a detail that needs refinement or a correction that needs to be amended, leave it in the comments. I am not above the truth, and your experience and insights are the key to this final gate. So tell me in the comments, did I pass your test? Subscribe, step up, and prove your fandom.